each week for a whole year to play with. Someone is guaranteed to win this amazing amount of cash, so make sure that someone could be you. For another chance to win £54,321 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB14 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 1st of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
And
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Late Edition. Breaking tonight.
So all those, please, in favour of the motion, please raise your hand.
The bell's going to be closed.
Unanimous, Chairman.
Well, it's victory for people power. The Epping Forest District Council has just voted to help close the hotel at the centre of all the controversy. Plus, taking a liberty, The Sun reports that asylum seekers staying in taxpayer-funded hotels are stealing thousands of pounds of goods from designer stores like Liberties of London. Also, bad news on the front of the Telegraph. In the wake of Labour's tax grab, record numbers of farms are closing down and... well, yes, on the eve of the new wave of doctors' strikes, the Prime Minister is making a last-ditch appeal to avert the strikes, but no avail, they're still going ahead. Plus...
And they tried to kill the next President of the United States. Enough was enough. And I said, let Trumpomania run wild, brother.
Well, legendary wrestler Hulk Hogan has sadly died at the age of 71. We're going to take a look back at his great life. Plus...
Looks like it's about 3.1 billion. It went up a little bit, or a lot.
No, it was built 5 years ago. We finished Martin 5 years ago.
Well, in case you might have forgotten, we've got a very special visit from President Trump to Scotland tomorrow. He's decided to pick a fight with the Federal Reserve Bank chair. Well, joining me this evening to sift through all that madness is former Tory MP Anna Firth, former Labour advisor Matthew Larser and GB News contributor and comedian Steve N. Allen. But first, let's get your news with Aaron Armstrong.
Thanks, Patrick. Good evening. Our headlines. Sir Keir Starmer's urged resident doctors not to join tomorrow's planned strike, which he says will put patients and the NHS at risk. Writing in The Times, the Prime Minister says the British Medical Association is going down a damaging road, which plays into the hands of those who want the NHS to fail. The 5-day strike is set to begin at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. His words echo that of the Health Secretary, Wes Streeting, who says the walkout undermines the entire trade union movement. The Prime Minister will hold emergency talks on Gaza with France and Germany, saying the suffering and starvation unfolding there is unspeakable and indefensible. He's urged Israel to change course and allow aid to enter Gaza without delay, saying the situation's reached new depths and we're witnessing a humanitarian catastrophe. It comes as Donald Trump's Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff's announced the US is cutting short its Gaza ceasefire talks in Qatar, saying the latest response from Hamas shows a lack of desire to reach a deal. One arrest has been made during French protests outside a hotel housing asylum seekers in Essex. Dozens gathered outside the Bell Hotel in Epping. The arrest was made for a person breaching an order in place that prevents anyone from wearing a face covering. Now, police have...
This is astonishing. Astonishing. I'm not sure if the police were banking on this, but as you can see, there are police escorting up.
Off, fenced off area. Now that's a big of a change from the previous protests where they were just out on the street in front of the hotel.
A local resident, Lindsay Thompson, has been asked why she has taken part in the demonstrations.
Because this is a very small town and it's always been a very safe town to bring up our children, and my children have grown up here. And since the hotel has taken in, reports say today 140 men are here, it no longer feels safe.
Ghislaine Maxwell's met officials from the US Department of Justice amid growing pressure on the Trump administration to release the Epstein files. Maxwell, a longtime associate of Jeffrey Epstein, is currently serving a 20-year sentence for sex trafficking. The White House has denied claims that President Trump's name appears in documents relating to the late convicted sex offender and has described reports Mr. Trump was informed about this in May as fake news. He's under mounting pressure to follow through on campaign promises to release files related to the disgraced financier. And President Trump's led tributes to the wrestling legend Hulk Hogan, who's died at the age of 71. The WWE fighter achieved worldwide fame in the 1980s and 90s, transforming a niche sport into a global entertainment phenomenon. He went on to star in TV and films before becoming a vocal supporter of the MAGA movement.
All you scumbags, all you drug dealers, and all you crooked politicians need to answer one question, brother. What you gonna do when Donald Trump and all the Trumpomaniacs run wild on you, brother?
His real name was Terry Bollea, reportedly suffered a cardiac arrest at his Florida home. WWE co-founder Vince McMahon says he was the greatest superstar of all time. President Trump says we lost a great friend. Strong, tough, smart, but with the biggest heart. Those are your headlines. Back to Patrick.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys Tonight Late Edition. Let's get stuck straight in to Friday's front pages. The Daily Telegraph, they go with farms close at a record rate and they are blaming Labour's inheritance tax raid. There is a bit more detail to the story. They also go with make doctors feel pain or strikes will spread, warns Wes Streeting. The Daily Mail, I won't cave into militant doctors. This is a combination of Wes Streeting and later in the article as well, Sir Keir Starmer. So, yes, if you are listening to us on Friday morning, today will be the start of a 5-day resident doctors' strike. The Daily Express, Doctors' 5-day strike is a threat to lives. Well, of course it is. It's nice to see people acknowledging this now, because in the past we were told that junior doctors could strike for as long as they want and no one would die. But now it turns out that's not actually true. The Sun have got another illegal migrant exclusive. Now, this marks several huge exclusives for The Sun on this very topic in the last month. Migrant gangs with free hotel rooms are shoplifting from top stores. They call it taking a liberty. It's a play on Liberty of London, isn't it? They also say, obviously, under Gucci and a Prada and a John Lewis. So basically, they say that they've managed to get a hold of information of them swiping thousands of pounds of designer gear from top stores. Police rarely attend. We can only hold a shoplifter for 4 hours. It's getting out of control. So, well, there you are. That's a good one for The Sun. Let's go to the Eye. UK ready to recognise Palestinian state in peace deal. The Metro. Good luck. Let's go. What's that about, you're asking? Yeah, no, it is actually about the... What? Sorry?
Backing our lionesses.
Come on.
You believed in Britain, Patrick.
Sorry.
Southend.
Oh, good for good.
She's a hero.
What's she called?
Can't remember.
Anyway, sorry, I shouldn't have done that. Anyway, good luck for the Lionesses. The Guardian. Let aid in, pleads UN chief. Very much more serious story, this. They are saying that even their staff are dying from hunger in Gaza. The Times, sleight of hand could let China extradite dissidents from the UK, right? The Daily Mirror. Britain must do more. They've also gone on what has been a series of horrific pictures of aid trucks in Gaza. So that's the Mirror and the Express have both done a bit on this recently, actually, and the Guardian did one yesterday. So there we go. Right, OK, let's get stuck into it with my wonderful panel. The story I'd like to focus on first is the front page of The Sun, please. Security firm exposes scandal. So The Sun have spoken to a security firm that manages several high-end stores, and they have revealed that they say there's a huge spike in crime from people who live in migrant hotels, nicking things like Gucci bags, Prada, etc., presumably to sell. I don't know, Steve, your take on this latest migrant scandal?
We don't necessarily know they're selling them. Let's give it a few weeks and let's see if they're all walking around with the latest Prada handbag. Because, you know, until we see that they're not, we shouldn't judge, Patrick, is what I'm saying. There is a chance this is just a difficulty in translation, because they probably turn up and think the word liberty, well, that comes from the Latin, meaning free. I guess they just have this stuff. If it's not about etymology, then I think we've got a bigger problem. And this is, it does take the mickey a bit, doesn't it? Like, if you're going to nick stuff, do it from Aldi or something, like, that's where I have to, where I have to shop. I don't even get to go into these shops that they managed to nick from. And this is the perfect Venn diagram overlap of the kind of stories that wind people up. You've got your migration, you've got your issues of you can nick stuff under 200 quid and no one turns up. But then again, in these shops, how do you nick anything under 200 quid? Like, the receipt costs that, doesn't it? So surely, to goodness, we've got a problem.
Well, the Sun said that they were tipped off by the security firm, so they've essentially set up a sting operation outside some of these stores. They say that they've captured these brazen thieves. They also say that apparently police rarely attend. You can only hold a shoplifter for 4 hours. Anna, this would imply to me that if these people are nicking stuff worth more than 200 quid, they know that they can be prosecuted, they just don't care. They can't be that bothered about getting deported, can they, if they're willing to commit crimes like this?
Oh, no, of course not. But that's because they know they're not going to be deported. And that's the whole problem, isn't it? But also, why are they out shoplifting when they've got free food, they've got free clothes, they've got £50 a week for gambling money? I mean, I just find it...
I'm not sure all of them spend it on gambling money, but I know what you mean.
Well,
yeah, too many.
Too many are getting 50 quid a week just to spend on gambling. I mean, there's no reason whatsoever that they should be committing these crimes. I mean, I just find it absolutely horrendous.
But you need a bag that matches the shoes. So you can't get that on 50 quid a week, can you? That's the problem.
Yeah. But again, the other implication to this, Matthew, is that if they are living in free hotel accommodation, and they go back to the hotels and they've got designer gear when they're walking around. So, again, what are the security staff at these hotels doing? Do they ever call the police and go, oh, sorry, you know, he's just rocked up with yet another Gucci handbag?
His questions are not being asked, which should be, I think it is fair to say. It's you know, shoplifting is a major problem, you know, not just in supermarkets, but in high-end stores. A friend of mine works in one just along from Harrods, and he says, and he shows me on his phone the CCTV footage of people just coming in, cleaning it out, and the police don't arrive. So, you know, the shoplifting crisis is real.
I don't know why we don't just do it. Like, seriously. I don't know why.
Patrick, I don't think you're calling people to shoplift, are you, my dear friend?
I'm saying I'm going to shops and I'm increasing... Like last night, for example, I was on my way home, it was quite late, and I realised I didn't have any dinner, so I went to a Tesco Express, and that Tesco Express is sometimes closed because they've hit their daily allowance of shoplifting. So yesterday they were open, which was great, nice result.
So you thought, I'll push you over the edge.
But then as I was looking at cheese that was in a security tag.
Oh, that's depressing.
You know, next to everything's in a security tag. Takes me ages to go in there to get the guy to undo the security stuff. And you just think, why are we paying for this?
Patrick, a friend of mine said the same thing with her local. When you turn up at her local in London, they have a look at you and decide if they're going to open the store. So maybe there's something else going on.
Yeah, you wouldn't have got it.
It's like petrol stations
when you turn up at your Tesco.
So they always open the door to you, obviously, don't they? But me, maybe not so much. Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm just wondering.
Well, there's only one way to find out. But go on, why don't you shoplift?
Well, do you know what?
Where did you not stop being?
No, it's a good question. I think it's because I like the idea of sticking to rules.
Yeah.
I like the idea that society requires some rules, some foundational basic ones. You know, not the difficult ones about parking, but the ones about not nicking stuff. The not murdering, the not nicking.
Yeah.
That's probably about it, really.
I'm big on the not murdering.
Yeah.
I can see an accidental manslaughter one day, but I wouldn't go in the murdering category. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes you're like, oh, gosh, I nearly accidentally killed that guy, but that would have been the act.
Don't do it to a resident doctor.
Yeah.
To yourself. Yeah, don't do it for the next 5 days.
No, yeah, exactly. On that note, let's go to some of the other newspaper front pages. It's across several of them. The Times have got it, the Daily Express as well, and what else have we got here? The Telegraph, yes.
Yeah.
OK, so that was a good one. The Daily Mail. I won't cave into militant doctors. So West Streeting last night took aim at the leaders of today's striking doctors, whose 5-day walkout is set to inflict untold misery on patients. How do we deal with these meddlesome doctors, Matthew?
I think we do what the government's doing, which is standing firm. And I think, actually, frankly, the country is standing firm because, you know, yes, our doctors deserve a fair deal. Yes, they had fallen behind, and therefore the pay rise they got last year was to help towards that. It's completely unrealistic to think they can go exactly reverse the position, which is what they're calling for of, I think it's sort of 15 years ago, isn't it, they're calling for?
Well, yeah.
Is it sort of maybe it's 2008, isn't it? They're saying they've lost out over time. You know, the nurses, the porters, lots of other people that we rely on in the healthcare system haven't had a similar pay rise. So the government is saying no.
But what I think we should do is say to them, if you want more money up front, fine, but then you have to have your pension rights cut.
Yeah.
Because their starting salary is about, I don't know, 36, 37, 38,000, something of that order. But it quite rapidly goes up.
Yeah.
After about 5 or 6 years, they're on over 100,000. But their pensions, 23%.
You can do 10 years, basically, and get a really significant pension that's higher than the average pension.
No one ever talks about that.
But is this not a little bit like reap what you sow in the Labour Party? You know, I mean, they initially dished out a pay rise to a load of people in the public sector. They've spent years championing people like the junior doctors whenever they go out and strike, and then now they're in power and they're wondering why they keep striking for more money.
Yeah, but then they didn't even get the deal. When they were dishing out money and sorting out the strikes, all you needed to have some sort of arrangement to say, and that'll be the end of these strikes for a while. Build that into it and we wouldn't be having this conversation now. But I think the big difference is, last time, the surveys were saying the people were behind them. This, not at all. And West Streeting, look, it's good that he's standing tough. He's going to have a very interesting prostate test the next time he goes, isn't he? Because you don't want to upset the doctors.
Well, if they go private.
You'd have to, yeah.
He does not use private health care.
I tend to not have witnesses. I don't know how you do it, but it's pay-per-view. I suppose it's the only way to make some money. No, what happens if they do hold out? We'll just have long waiting lists and you can't get an appointment. How would we know the difference? Do you know what I mean? Now is the time to hold out.
I think he's trying to hit them where it hurts by saying he's going to hit them in their overtime, which is what they did last time, which is obviously you don't get paid when you strike. When I went on strike at the BBC, some of my colleagues didn't realise you didn't get paid the day you were on strike.
Why are you on strike at the BBC?
Well, I can't remember, but I thought I had to.
That must have been important.
Against cuts in local radio or something.
And you pay hundreds of thousands of pounds.
You said only at the management, and I was merely a junior cog in the machine, Anna.
Well, there you go.
I was young then.
Yeah, but it just shows the strength of feeling. It is on several newspaper front pages. Doctors' 5-day strike is a threat to lives. I think it's about time people seriously started having a massive go at these people and also questioning how good any of them are at their jobs anyway. Because I'm sure there's a load of great doctors out there, but the level of medical negligence in this country is vast, and I find a lot of them incredibly obnoxious and arrogant, and they say to, it's all procedural. Oh, gosh, I was so tired that I had to accidentally kill that woman. Well, no, I'm sorry. I think for the money that they're going to be on, you can be a consultant 10 years after qualifying, and you can work privately. Before you know it, you're nudging the thick end of £300,000 a year as a doctor. I think they can jog on, Anna.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, the clue's in the name. It's National Health Service. It's not Goldman Sachs Service, is it?
Yeah.
You know, if you want to earn these sorts of, you know, huge salaries, then you can go into the private sector. You don't have to become a doctor. Now, I think they do a fantastic job, but I do not think they should be allowed to strike. I don't think particularly they should be allowed to strike in intensive care, in A&E, in maternity. You know, you can't strike if you're in the army or in the police force.
Well, you've seen Robert Winston, who the eminent fertility specialist, who's a Labour peer.
Turf, as well as it turned out.
Is he? I don't know.
Well, he dared.
I thought you were about to say something else.
No, he dared to go on Newsnight and say that, like, genetically there are two genders.
Well, he's almost in tears in the clips he's done today about what he thinks the consequences of the strike are, and he's definitely a man of the left. So I think that, you know, if you're losing support of people who should be your natural allies, the doctors need to sit up and listen.
You won't be beeping at a picket line then when you.
No. Well, no. All I'm going to do for the next few days is just not move. If I fall over, I'm done for, aren't I?
Yeah.
So I'm just sitting around on comfortable chairs for a while. Let's not do anything that's too risky.
Yeah.
I'm certainly not getting my prostate tested for the next... After this clip. I'm not doing that.
No, I don't think I ever will again. I'll walk into the private clinic that West Street claims to never use, right? And I'll see him.
Claims to never use.
Yeah, and I'll
very carefully constructed sentence there.
I'll see him there in the waiting room. We'll just nod at each other and go, can't go in the other one anymore, can we?
Now is the time to go into hospital, because you're going to be seen by a consultant, aren't you? Or a registrar. Because none of the junior doctors are there.
Oh, good.
Or one of the porters.
So...
Yeah. He pays you money, you take your choice.
I can't wait to be seen by a consultant that wears a Joiner Union badge next to a Palestine badge and a Pride lanyard as I go in. Fantastic, what a world. Anyway, coming up, we got this. Well, prepare to see a lot more of that as the Telegraph reports that more farms are set to close because of the inheritance tax rate. In fact, they say there's been a record level of closures in the agricultural sector. We're going to have a look at that and pay tribute to Hulk Hogan as well. Stay tuned.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
What stresses you out the most?
Oh, stupid people. Yeah, stupid people. Actually, I'm convinced the world is full of stupid people.
Right, OK.
All right, so stupid people...
Why are you looking at me? Why are you looking at me?
No, I actually wouldn't look at you, mate. You're a smart person. But no, honestly, if you were in my life, particularly when you rely on people to do things for you and they just can't see the obvious thing to do sometimes.
Oh, no.
But you have to be very grateful that they are doing things for you.
Yeah, that's...
Ellie, for me, it depends on the mood I'm in. Because if little things happen and I'm not in the right mood, then everything drives me crazy.
Now, that is a very good point. So, micro-stresses.
Is that what it is?
But according to the Daily Mail this morning, 89% of Britons are finding the small stresses is exhausting them the most.
Yeah.
Things like being stuck in traffic.
Yes.
Hate that. The bin bag
I actually
breaking.
don't mind being stuck in traffic.
No, I do. I find it...
That's OK.
Great on myself.
Unless it's late, I'm late for something. Although I was stuck for about 3 hours trying to get home yesterday.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
but you see, I don't think those are micro stresses. I think they're major stresses.
Full-on stresses.
That's what the study says,
So listen, don't pass them off as, oh, it's only just stuck in traffic. That's a major thing.
OK,
Yeah.
that's
a bad
major
thing,
stress.
happen,
OK.
yeah.
It says sometimes it triggers the same exhaustion as a single major life event if you have lots of these in a day. So bin bag breaking is you taking it out, losing your keys.
That's a major one.
Yeah.
That's major for me.
People who walk slowly. That is so irritating. Forgetting to charge your phone overnight, forgetting to put the bins out, not being able to find an outfit.
You know what I really hate? Really, really grinds my gears?
What?
Is when I either let someone out, and when I'm in the car, I let someone out and they don't say thanks, or I stop and let them cross over and they don't go...
That's irritating.
Then I go...
Well, I tend to agree with you, Paul.
GB News, the People's Channel.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record. You say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys Tonight Late Edition. We're going to zone in now on the Daily Telegraph's front page because they've gone for farms close at record rate after inheritance tax raid. So this is... well, it's quite bad news again, I would argue, for Labour. More than 6,000 agricultural, forestry and fishing businesses have shut in a year. There's a net loss of 3,175, and the Telegraph are blaming it literally on Labour's economic nightmare. So, Steve, I'll start with you on it.
Yeah, I mean, I like food. I'm going to come out as pro-food. So I like the idea of being able to grow some food. And, like, we talk about this all the time, that food shouldn't come from factories, it should come from farms. So don't maybe attack the farms. Well, the annoying thing about this story... And actually, I suppose I should say, if we get rid of food, it solves the obesity problem. But because obviously the Telegraph is obsessed with inheritance tax, and I could very much be in favour of disagreeing with the Telegraph on general inheritance tax. The number of people who pay it, and if you own a newspaper, you're going to have to pay it. So I wonder which side of the debate you're on. So all the papers that way, and most of us won't. But farms are different. If your problem was there's a loophole that lets people invest money in farms to get through it, find a way of closing the loophole without punishing the actual farms. Because look what you're doing. It's another one of these Labour ideas terribly executed.
Well, the reason why they couldn't do that is because at some point someone from the Labour Party would have to go to the countryside and decide what was and wasn't a farm. And they're not allowed outside North London, are they?
What, members of the Labour Party?
Yes, yes.
There are members available in other parts of the country.
Are there?
Yes.
Oh, God, right,
including our home city of Manchester.
Sorry.
Now, there won't be for very much longer.
I mean, you could argue, of course, Islington doesn't have a Labour, Islington in south, north doesn't have a Labour MP as Mr Corbyn, of your party.
Yeah. That's true.
Or whatever party.
Well, yeah, not my party, mate. You see, this is it. This is what it's going to be like, isn't it, of your party?
I walked in earlier, when I walked in just before the show started, and Anna said, are you going to join your party? You know, I mean, that's exactly what you're going to get,
This is it.
Hours of it. It's
It's
ludicrous.
got headlines like, it's your party and you'll cry if you want to. Yeah, they're right themselves, aren't they?
You know.
Yes, they do.
The idea is they're going to have a vote on it.
I'm quite surprised it hasn't made any of the front page. It's a nib on the Telegraph.
It's a little nib on the Telegraph, yeah. And I think it's on the top of the eye, maybe somewhere. It's on one of the others.
I think, yeah.
But it's interesting. And the Guardian might have done it a bit at the bottom, but I mean, it's not. You think the Guardian would be leading on it? They're people.
Yeah.
They're people.
I would have thought GB News would be having a poll on different names for this party. I'm sure that your researchers will come up with a fair few.
Well,
I mean,
that are unbroadcastable.
Yeah, exactly. With things that we've quivered on the edge with Jezbollah, but I mean, I think any further than that,
we might even have fallen over it.
We might,
depending on what is adjudicated later.
What's me slipping over the edge again? There we go. Anyway, Jezbollah. So, right, I believe I've got to go to a guest now. Not got to. It's because I want to, obviously. But anyway, protests are expected as the US President Donald Trump visits Scotland this weekend, the country his mother is from. The US President is expected to visit his Turnberry Golf Resort and his course in Menny. I think, is that pronounced right? Menny? Many? Anyway, fine, no help in the air there, so we'll see what happens. During the 4-day trip to Scotland, there are currently no plans for the President to meet the King, but is expected to have an informal chat with the Prime Minister. And on the eve of his visit, the President had an awkward chat as well with Jerome Powell, who is the chair of the Federal Reserve.
Looks like it's about 3.1 billion. It went up a little bit, or a lot. So the 2.7 is now 3.1.
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, it just came out.
Yeah, I haven't heard that from anybody at the Fed. You're including the Martin renovation. You just added our entire capital. Yeah, you just added in a third building. Is what that is. That's a third building.
Well, no, but it's a building that's being built.
No, it was built 5 years ago. We finished Martin 5 years ago.
Ooh, awkward. Well, I'm joined now by US radio host Steve Gill. Steve, thank you very much. So, firstly, do you think that President Trump is going to care at all about some people protesting in Scotland when he gets there?
No, and he hasn't been playing much lately. So if he's playing golf at one of these courses, don't crowd the fairways too much because you might get hit by an errant ball, and then they'll blame him. So stay a little bit back if you're protesting.
That's true. But he's set to meet our Prime Minister as well. It'll probably take a while to remind himself of who he is, of course. But then when he does, he'll say, "Oh, hello, Prime Minister." What kind of stuff do you think they'll talk about, really? Do you really think they get on, or do you think President Trump just pities him?
I think they'll continue to talk about the tariff deals that are being brought to the table, again, across the world, and then the details of, how you do with the digital services tax, for example. There's talk of tariff, non-tariff barriers, and you've got kind of these weird aspects of doing business together. So I think there's a lot of details to talk, but I think this will be mainly a cordial visit, trying to figure out what's next in negotiations regarding Ukraine and Russia, what's next regarding Gaza and Hamas and Israel. There's a lot for them to talk about. I'm not sure how much time they'll spend doing details.
Is this primarily just a holiday for Trump to his golf resort? Because he kind of came and then he said to the Prime Minister, "If you want to meet up, I'm here." So, I mean, is he actually just on holiday?
I think President Trump really values the personal connection with foreign leaders. And I think that those that are smart realize that's how Trump does business. And if you want to make progress with him, make that personal connection. And I think Starmer and others, any opportunity they have to do that, they need to take advantage of it.
OK. Also, can you just explain to me what we were looking at there with the chair of the Federal Reserve and President Trump with that quite awkward chat? Was he accusing him of spending all the money on a refurbishment of the Federal Reserve or something?
Well, I think this was a complex. The new building, as they kept saying, was supposed to be $2.1 billion. It's come in at about 2.5. And then they were adding in the total project, which gets it to 3.1 billion, which was the number President Trump was talking about. And Jerome Powell pointed out, but yeah, we finished that part a few years ago. Yes, but the whole project went from 2.1 to 3.1 billion. And you can't argue that 2.5 of it is what's taken place under Jerome Powell.
Yeah. The numbers here are just insane, aren't they? And the arrogance of that bloke to try to push back on it. I mean, if a project came in £1 billion over budget, you have to... I mean, you do have to think that maybe someone who's willing to preside over at least a bit of that should not be the chair of the Federal Reserve. But thank you very much, and it's always great to see you as well. So you take care, mate, and we will see you again. That is US radio host Steve Gill. Another Steve now. So what do you think? What do you think? Starmer and Trump are going to be talking about? Do you think Starmer's going to play a round of golf with him?
Oh, yeah, and then lose. That would be the best strategy. Surely, if you're playing golf with Trump, make sure you lose, and therefore you won't get bombed or tariffed. That's the two main outcomes that you get as a nation. The weird thing is, all of the reports say they get on. I mean, we can't quite fathom that in our heads, can we? But apparently in person, Starmer, I mean, I met him once, he's very short. That's all I've got to say, and which Trump's probably going to love, because Trump's a 6'1" who pretends to be 6'3" or something.
Yeah, so he's very much like myself.
Yeah, just to thin down that BMI. Just I'm not overweight. I'm just too short, whatever it is. So yeah, apparently they get on, and he's really there. It's weird, but then Trump likes the idea of knowing leaders. He won't care too much about Starmer because he'll care about the king. Because he's more of like, who's the actual boss of this country? He likes the idea of being friends with the king.
What would your message be to the people, some of the people of Scotland who are going to go and protest President Trump's arrival?
Oh, I don't think you should be protesting a head of state. I mean, you know, whatever your personal view of Trump, and, you know, there's certain views he's got which I'm not keen on, he is the democratically elected leader of the American people. And I think I think as a nation we should show him respect for that. I think Starmer will probably be following behind him, carrying the golf club.
His caddy. You have to have a caddy licence.
But that's what he likes doing, isn't it?
No, you have to have one. He's going to be able to do it, but I'm saying having practical.
Didn't you? I thought that was a very illuminating shot when we saw them on the world stage, and Trump drops all his papers. Apparently, it was our trade deal he dropped. And Starmer was busy scraping them off the floor.
But it was a no-win situation. His options were either look like he's subservient or let an old man have to pick up his own papers. He had a lose-lose.
I think he should have, you know, looked at someone else. There must have been someone else.
Got an aide.
Yes.
Somebody like me to have run in and pick the papers up.
You could have done it.
Sorry,
sir.
I was once described, excuse me, on hospital visit as a flunky when I worked for Ed Miliband, who was the tallest man ever to lead the Labour Party.
Right, hey, some trivia there, some Ed Miliband-based trivia.
Absolutely.
Which meant when he stuck the knife into his brother's great height, doesn't it? There you go. All right, well, I think that'll probably do for this round. We've got a bit more coming up, though, including this. Now, forget about the failed Jaguar advertising campaign. Advertisers have come roaring back, everybody. Yes, they have. Stay tuned.
Hello again, very good evening to you. I'm here with your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Now, as we go through the rest of today and into tomorrow, we have 2 zones of wet weather to watch out for. There's still some rain across parts of the southeast, but the front here is clearing away. Meanwhile, another front's coming in from the west, and that means we're going to see quite a bit of cloud feeding in across northern and western Scotland, also across Northern Ireland, and also a bit of wet weather coming in as we go through the early hours of tomorrow, albeit the rain's not looking particularly heavy. Elsewhere across much of the country, it's looking dry. There will be some clear skies around, but temperatures aren't going to drop a huge amount. It's pretty humid out there at the moment, and so with that, we could see some mist and fog patches developing in a few places. As we go through tomorrow morning then, apart from across some eastern, southeastern parts of Scotland, where there could be some sunshine, elsewhere it's going to be a fairly grey start and could be quite damp, a bit wet in some places, particularly towards the north and west. A similar story across Northern Ireland, quite cloudy with some outbreaks of rain. Much brighter though across much of England and Wales. Like I said, there could be some mist and fog first thing, but this should burn away pretty quickly. As we go through the day, however, that front is gradually going to feed a little bit further south and eastward, so across parts of northwest England, around some coastal parts of Wales, and maybe even into Cornwall, things are going to turn cloudier and there could be some rain. Further northwest towards the northern western parts of Scotland and Northern Ireland, some brighter spells, a few showers, but the best of the sunshine will be towards the south, where we're going to see temperatures peaking in the mid to high 20s Celsius. Looking ahead to the weekend, and it's going to be a bit showery at times. There'll be a swathe of showers feeding their way eastwards. These could turn quite heavy across parts of the southeast perhaps, and some more frequent showery bursts are likely towards the northwest, where it's going to be relatively breezy. And meanwhile, on Sunday, there will be some drier weather on offer, particularly towards more central parts.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5.
You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah.
Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace to
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Late Edition. Let me just refresh your memories with some of tomorrow's national newspaper front pages. The Daily Telegraph, they go off with farms close at record rate after Labour's inheritance tax raid. The Daily Mail, I won't cave into militant doctors. That's Wes Streeting's message as doctors go on strike on Friday for 5 days. Daily Express, doctors' 5-day strike is a threat to lives. And The Sun have got yet another illegal migrant exclusive. This time, they appear to have all of the evidence in The Sun of illegal migrants nicking stuff from high-end stores. So there we go. But I would like to just zone in for this particular segment on what's on the front of the I newspaper, please. So the headline on the I newspaper is UK to recognise Palestinian state in peace deal. And we're not alone. So France will recognise a Palestinian state in September at the UN General Assembly. That's according to Emmanuel Macron, who you might remember as well actually basically said he was going to do this when he was here on his state visit. But the French president announced the decision on social media. That was just moments ago, actually, if you was live. And he said he would help bring peace to the region. But I'm going to read you the detail on this I front page. Starmer to lobby Trump over the deepening humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza. He makes his boldest intervention on the conflict by a British Prime Minister, says statehood is I can never pronounce this word. Inalienable, that's the one. It's an inalienable right of the Palestinian people. Do we have strong views on the recognition of a Palestinian state, or dare I say it, the timing of it? I know it's kicked off between you two before, but the timing of it, given that Jeremy Corbyn and Zara Sultan have just announced Boss is going to be essentially one large pro-Palestinian party. I mean, it seems quite suspect, doesn't it?
I mean, unsurprisingly with this issue, it's tricky, isn't it? Because if you have to have the concept of a state being recognised for a two-state solution to ever be a potential goal, the timing is the problem. And also, I mean, surely you can't do it exactly now. Where would we even draw a border and stuff like that? But at the moment, the timing's awkward because all the front pages show us all of the pictures. The argument boils down to some people say the blockade to the aid is the problem. Israel said there's no blockade. Surely we could find that out. It feels like a thing we could find out. And quite often now, all of these issues boil down to why don't you let the press in? It feels like that might be a solution.
Well, actually, Netanyahu's put forward a law at the moment to ban foreign journalists with no judicial oversight. Even from Israel, they won't let them into the Palestinian territories, won't let them across the border. But, yeah.
Interesting. With no digital oversight, what does that mean?
With no judicial.
Oh, judicial.
Sorry, forgive my pronunciation.
No. OK, well, that's... that is...
I mean, I think on this, I mean, I understand the cynicism about the politics, but if you look, I think it's really tragic for Israel, is that people who should be natural supporters of it are turning on it. So Kit Malthouse, who's a Tory MP, this week said that David Lammy should be in The Hague because David Lammy's not doing enough to end it. Well, yeah. So, and that's a Tory MP saying
and Zara Sultana as well, saying this government's got blood-soaked...
Yeah, but this is a Tory MP saying not Zara Sultana.
If we could just whiz ourselves over quickly to the Mirror, and there's a reason here, because the Mirror, they've run the latest round of pictures from Gaza. The Express have been doing it. I think the Mirror did it yesterday as well. The Guardian definitely did it on one of the days. In fact, the Guardian have got a bit of it there on their front page.
What I don't understand, Patrick, and, you know, people will say, you know, it's not possible, but it must be possible to have UN peacekeepers escorting that aid. And if necessary, you know, we've seen the way the police have defended this migrant hotel and you know, the flooding of police, and they've got control of the situation. Of course, if you can do that, of course you can defend that aid. And you know, there's no reason. Nobody wants to see people starve.
I think the problem is that Trump and the Israelis together decided to put it all into the hands of this private sort of security firm that they've commissioned, and it's not working.
All right. Well, look. Hey, we thought we'd move things on a little bit and not just deal with the front pages, really. And well, advertising has been criticised in recent years, hasn't it, as being unbelievably woke. And actually, that's been quite bad for business for some people. So we have seen this advert. I think I can play this to you. So bear in mind, the whole time I'm playing this to you, right, what I want to imagine, for you to imagine, is the contrast between this and that Jaguar advert. So, look, I think we might be back here, lads.
Sydney Sweeney, Hasbro Keynes.
Back in 1974? I mean...
Well, what a great year. Apparently, American Eagle shares, which is that company, have soared See what I did there? By 10% today alone, after unveiling that new ad campaign fronted, quite literally actually, by Sydney Sweeney.
Or backed.
Well, yeah, well, fronted and backed by Sydney Sweeney. Now, before the divorce comes in, what I'd like to say is remember the way that Jaguar tried to wokeify their brand. That's an advert for trans aliens. And what the other ones have done is actually something good that makes you remember. And we can see how the various advertising campaigns are working.
I want to buy some jeans. It's weird, isn't it? I've just got this... I just feel I need some jeans. I'm not sure where... I'm not going to buy a Jaguar on the way home, but I will Google jeans. Weird. Look, I suppose that's advertising, and it sex sells. This is Sydney Sweeney, who was the one who sold bars of soap with her bathwater in it. So
yes.
It's very much, I suppose, the new phrase would be owning her own sexuality or flogging bathwater to dirt. Back in the old days, when you were a dirty perv, if you wanted someone's bathwater, you had to find a way to get it out of the sink or something. You had to put a little cup down there. But now you just order it online. Just add it to basket. Life's too easy for pervs.
I think not before time we're going to go to an actual woman on the panel and talk to Anna Firth about this. So, Anna, look, OK, you know, all the kind of lazy, crass jokes about objectifying women aside, you know, sometimes an advert campaign for a product just sold in quite a sexy way works, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, maybe it does work. Maybe, I mean, who are they? Oh, clearly, they are advertising that, I would say, quite a load of inadequate men, frankly, who just sort of gives them a bit of a thrill to be in a Jaguar, and they've got this fantasy that that's going to pull...
They're advertising the jeans. I'll just say they're advertising her jeans. She just happened to be next to a sexy car as well, so...
And they're jeans for women. They're jeans for women.
advertising the car.
No, they're advertising her jeans.
That's why they focus on a bottom.
That's why they went...
Okay,
Yeah. No, it's fair enough.
of the evening.
No, it's right.
The jeans, well, OK, she looked good in the jeans. She looked good in the jeans.
And they're jeans for women.
Don't objectify her, just because she looks good in the jeans.
What I didn't like was the beginning bit.
Well, she leant over.
Honestly, I just think we're going backwards with women's liberation in this country.
OK.
I don't think we're not valuing women for what's between their ears. You know, we're going back to long hair, looking sexy, short skirts. I think that's a shame.
Matthew?
I think it's a step backwards. And I'm going to defend the as you would describe it, the trans aliens in a Jaguar, which made a very specific point about, you know, live different by a Jaguar.
Well, yeah, but then no one bought a Jaguar, did they? That's it.
That's more to do with Trump tariffs than anything else.
Oh, sorry, I'm being shouted out, not for the first time, for a variety of different reasons, actually.
Not first time.
Not for the first time, anyway. We're going to move on. Coming up, anything can happen on live TV.
Oh, Jesus.
We quite literally left you hanging there, didn't we? Stay tuned to find out how that CNN clip ends.
What the...
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
If you're off on your holidays this week, let's take a look at the weather across Europe. So particularly hot for Italy and Greece, but further west, particularly windy for the Canary Islands and down the western coast of Portugal and in particularly the southwestern part of the Mediterranean. Thunderstorms for southeastern Spain, across France and northern Italy, but it's southern Italy and Greece that will be looking particularly hot, warmer than usual, and that heat is likely to last into the weekend.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m.
Only on GB News.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power?
Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber.
Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
And
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys Tonight, late edition. As I know more than most, anything can happen on live TV, but this really is something.
Oh, Jesus.
That never happens.
What you just saw there is a brand new twist on America's favorite pastime.
Breaking your face.
Oh, my God. Yeah, your favourite.
Do you think it was deliberate, so it went viral?
You wouldn't humiliate yourself like that. What kind of bloke would humiliate himself on national television? Just to go viral.
I can't think, Patrick. What sort of bloke
kind of guy would do that, you know? Anyway, let's see this numpty again. Oh, no, it's a different one. He's done a different thing. The numpty's in there. The numpty's in there. I'm only joking. You're a lovely man. No, go on, let's see the guy smash his teeth out.
Oh, Jesus.
That never happens.
What you just saw there is a brand new twist on America's favorite pastime.
I like the fact the presenters just carry on. It's like, that what you just saw there is the brand new take. It's not what it wasn't, was it?
It's a very new take on it, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's not a recommended take.
Yeah, shocking.
They didn't give him a second chance.
No, well, I think he's probably... Can you imagine if he just keeps beating himself up until it's done? It's just like a bloody cult.
There are loads of little clips like that on the internet. You know, they string them together. You know, the most embarrassing, horrible fools. And they're strangely addictive.
They always get me as well. I always think I'm above laughing at this sort of stuff. 3 clips in, I'm crying.
You're there for the night.
Brilliant, brilliant. So, do we remember Kamala Harris? Yes. Well,
should have been president.
Can you imagine? Secret Service agents swarmed a pub to whisk in Kamala Harris for billionaire heiress Eve Jobs' £100,000 pre-wedding party. Can I just say, for a billionaire heiress, a £100,000 party isn't that much.
That doesn't go far in the Cotswolds, 100 grand.
No. Anyway, some 20 men in suits...
It's a pay bar.
Some 20 men in suits with earpieces manned Cotswolds boozer The Bull for 5 hours to ensure the former US Vice President was safe. So
why would she be unsafe? I mean, you know, it doesn't sound like it's a very exciting party, really. I mean, you know, it sounds a bit boring, frankly. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, it's a hen do. The pre-wedding party is a weird way. It's a hen do, isn't it? So I imagine some of that 100 grand was on the little straws that are shaped like very rude things. But they were like gold plate.
Bachelorette party, as they would call it.
That's what they say.
Yes, they would. Yeah.
Big inflatable one as well. I'm sure they had one of those.
Yeah, it seems odd as well. Also, I'm not being funny, but like Steve Jobs is the Apple founder, and that's his daughter. I mean, there's quite a different age range between her and Kamala Harris. I would have thought. Just seems like an odd friendship.
They're not getting married, are they?
No, mate.
Oh, nothing.
I see now. I thank you very much to my wonderful producer. It turns out Kamala Harris is best friends with Steve Jobs' wife, which actually does explain a heck of a lot about that story, doesn't it? But still, yes, anyway, she's there. And we've got one more, have we? Yes. Tensions with Russia are looming because of the threat of World War III. This is according to Germany. Germany decided to ramp up their preparations for World War III, with the Defence Ministry source saying that they are now reintroducing compulsory screening for military service for 18-year-old men. The country's military, or Bundeswehr, is suffering from both a shrinking and ageing force. So the Germans aren't up for it. Look, maybe that's a good thing.
Patrick, final thing. Good luck to the Lionesses on Sunday, in particular, Michelle Adiwang.
Don't worry about World War III.
Previously of Southend High School, as I embarrassingly forgot her name earlier.
We got her in the end.
Don't worry about World War III.
Well
Go the...
not the end of the world.
Go the last from Southend.
Right. I mean, there's going to be a Fourth Reich, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I think it's going to be the other way around.
I should probably stop waving my hands around while I say that.
You never know. Doesn't go well.
Oh, but he got me done there.
And it's the Fourth Reich, but the Germans are going to play their part in protecting us from Russia.
Yes, good. Right, am I whizzing through the papers again quickly? Yeah, the Daily Telegraph for Friday has got the Daily Telegraph. Farms close at record rate after inheritance tax rise. The Daily Mail, I won't cave into militant doctors. That's West Streeting. The Daily Express, doctors' 5-day strike is a threat to life. The Sun, taking the liberty. It's an illegal migrant exclusive. Migrants basically nicking stuff from a load of shops. The Guardian, let aid in, pleads UN chief, as even his staff faint from hunger in Gaza. The Times, sleight of hand could let China extradite dissidents to the UK. Those are your front pages. Thank you very much, my wonderful panel. Thank you to you at home or wherever you are. If you're watching in the morning, though, the breakfast show is next. Don't miss it.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hello again, very good evening to you. I'm here with your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Now, as we go through the rest of today and into tomorrow, we have 2 zones of wet weather to watch out for. There's still some rain across parts of the southeast, but the front here is clearing away. Meanwhile, another front's coming in from the west, and that means we're going to see quite a bit of cloud feeding in across northern and western Scotland, also across Northern Ireland, and also a bit of wet weather coming in as we go through the early hours of tomorrow, albeit the rain's not looking particularly heavy. Elsewhere across much of the country, it's looking dry. There will be some clear skies around, but temperatures aren't going to drop a huge amount. It's pretty humid out there at the moment, and so with that, we could see some mist and fog patches developing in a few places. As we go through tomorrow morning then, apart from across some eastern, southeastern parts of Scotland, where there could be some sunshine, elsewhere it's going to be a fairly grey start and could be quite damp, a bit wet in some places, particularly towards the north and west. A similar story across Northern Ireland, quite cloudy with some outbreaks of rain. Much brighter, though, across much of England and Wales. Like I said, there could be some mist and fog.